Greetings! Happy National Artichoke Day. Yes, it is true. I am not artichoking. It is Artichoke Day, and some might like it. I love it personally. Some of you might feel like you might choke on the artichoke, but it is a very nutritious and healthy food. Now, we know a lot about food, and we talk about food, we dream about food, we make food. It's all about food, 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 because, we want to know what's good for us. We want to know what is going to keep us healthy and what is going to keep us going. But do we talk about a mental diet? Lately, it's a bit more, I would say, talked about or researched. However, I'm not talking about mental diet when you go mental after you haven't eaten for a while and then you just eat everything in your way. Not gonna say who does that sometimes. What I'm talking about is here. What do we feed our brain with? So we're feeling shitty. Sometimes we feel really bad and shitty. Why are we feeling shitty? Are we watching shitty things? Are we listening to shitty things? Are we reading shitty things? Are we surrounding ourselves with people who are saying shitty things and have shitty energy? Yes, this is a very professional, shitty format. Not saying shitty, it's a nice word. Shitty, shitty, shitty. Anyway, away from that. What are we putting in our brains? How often will we stop and think, is this news or is this information something that is good for me? So there is something controversial I say to a lot of people, and it doesn't always land well. Do not watch the news. So my friends go, oh no, but how am I gonna know what's happening? How am I gonna protect myself? So there's few things. First of all, if your best friend is not Sponge and you are not living under the rock, then you'll find out sooner or later. This big news, you'll get to know what's happening if it's really important. Second, how much can you really control if you do know these news, especially big world events and natural disasters, stuff like that? It's like a false sense of security, and it doesn't really help us. The problem here is our brain. Of course, damn you brain, damn you brain, damn you brain. Yeah, I'm gonna edit that later. What happened is that our brains are looking for things that are negative or unsafe. Why? Because, when we used to live in caves, we needed to know information where things were happening or weren't safe to survive. So that's why we are more prone to searching for negative information or even remembering it. And of course, media knows that, news knows that. I worked in journalism for a little bit. The saying is, bad news is good news. Because it goes, people are just soaking it up, gobbling it up, gobble, gobble. So it is really hard because we think, oh, at least I know I'm safe. But, letting go of that feeling that you have things under control, that's another really, really hard thing, Knowing that you actually cannot control a lot of things can be very scary, but also really, really liberating as well. And another problem that happens nowadays, or most of people, is before we might have watched the news every evening or, get some news in newspaper from time to time. Now it's 24/7. So our cortisol levels, our fight and flight, we have it on the reach of our hands. All the shitty news, all the shitty things that are happening, we're constantly feeding our brains with that. And why would you do that? Why would you put such shitty things in your head if it's really not necessary? I'm not saying be oblivious or anything. Obviously, everything, again, it's harmony measured, but you don't have to search for it. You don't have to go and feed your brain with these negative shitty things. Now, let's give it a think about what kind of diet do you have. Is it a good, nutritious diet with here and there, maybe some, treats? Or is it really, really bad for us and it just doesn't work because we just feel so negative? One more thing, there is also such thing as calories or what do they say? Junk food, right? So that might feel good and, empty calories at that moment might make us feel good, which is not just bad news, but it's all the other pop culture kind of events and news, and that makes us giggle a little bit. But even too much of that might be not the best, because we're getting that quick dopamine and it's not really, it crashes like sugar. You crash and you need more, and you need more of that of fun and jokes and stimulants. So just to be mindful, obviously I doom scroll a lot of times myself, and it can happen. We can't do everything in extreme. It's not all or nothing, but we can be mindful and just be okay. What is in our algorithm and what am I putting in here? Is my brain and my thoughts healthy? So that's a bit of food for thought for you guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's something that you do that you feel works for you or not. But yeah, let's talk about that mental diet as well. So bon appetit.